Hello everybody, it is just 7 o'clock and this is my Friday night Glamour part 2. So it's also being streamed to my YouTube channel, so if you haven't watched part 1 and you want to go refresh yourself, it will be there also. These Friday night events are about half an hour to no more than 30 minutes at a time. So I'm going to get through as much as I can tonight within that time frame. It's going to be a little while longer that we are keeping on doing Glamour events Friday night. So thank you for being on here. And I want to let you know that tonight is part 2, which is going to be about concealers and finishers. So let's recap quickly last week. Last week was about preparing your skin, finding the right formula of foundation, what you want your foundation to do for you, finding the right formula, how to find your tone and your undertone. Remember, those are two things. The tone can change, but your undertone stays with you for life. So those are what we talked about. We talked about tools for application. We talked about the various application tools we had, and we talked about how to apply. So tonight, if you're on, just log in and tell us your name. Tell me your name. So let me see if I can get the comments. Give me your name, and so that I know you're here. And then also before we log out, give me your name so I know you're here, and I'm going to be drawing a prize from tonight. So tonight again, we are going to talk about, one of the questions I had from last week was, I talked about some foundations that are buildable. What does buildable mean? A viewer asked, what does buildable mean? Well, buildable simply means that you can build on it. And what that means is if you put on a foundation, or in fact some of our concealers, and you want to add more, you can do it without streaking. I'm sure you've all had that challenge where you've tried to put on foundation, you put something more on top, and it either rolls up into little, roly balls, or it streaks, and it's really not good. But our foundations are buildable. And to make a foundation buildable, it has to be built in, of course. But for a buildable foundation, you want to put it on, you want the first layer to dry, I would say about 60 seconds, and then you can build another layer. But while you're building it, you also want to, I'm just reaching for my sponge, you also want to remember to stipple the second layer, buildable. Hi, Elaine, I see you on there, so thank you. So you want to build if you have to have a second layer, but our foundations are buildable. So tonight we're going to talk about concealers and finishes, as I said. One of the things I want to show you, this is one of my all-time favorite brushes, and this is my personal brush, and it is a synthetic fiber, so it's very easy to wash. But look at the shape of it. I don't know if you can see the shape of it. It's got that pointed tip. It is a synthetic fiber. It's really, really soft. It's a very soft synthetic fiber, but the shape of it is what I want you to see. It's got, I can make it more pointy, or I can make it a little bit flatter. But this is called the Mary Kay Cream Color Brush. Hard to show. Cream color. And it can be used for concealers or for eye colors. By the way, if you hear a noise in the background of somebody beating on the door, I'm trying to keep my cat, who likes to photobomb the whole session, so I'm trying to keep him out. But he's probably going to photobomb the door because he just wants to be with me. So anyway, so we're talking about our cream color brush. So let's talk about concealers. Once you've got your foundation on, the ideal time is to look and see if there are any areas that need concealing, and that's when you can use a concealer. We have different types of concealers. We have the perfecting concealer, and we have the under eye concealer. I'm going to start with the under eye concealer, which is called an under eye corrector. Because if you look at your, thank you whoever said nice shirt, if you look at your color wheel, most under eye colors are in the blue, blue, black, bluish, dark areas. And so if you looked at your color wheel to correct it, you want to use something on the opposite side of the color wheel. So this under eye corrector, it's really hard to show on the screen, but it's a pinkish undertone. It's a peach, actually. It's a peach undertone because the opposite side of the wheel from blue is going to be the peaches, the peach undertone, the blues and the yellows and the peach. So this is particularly an under-eye corrector. Now, for skin tones, this under-eye corrector is good for ivory, beige, dark beige. But for anything in the, even light bronze can use it, but for anything in the bronze, this is not a good one. This is not a good under-eye corrector because dark bronze skin and ebony skin doesn't get those blue undertones that white skin, that fair skin gets. So we have to do something different for that. So this is for ivory, beige, deep beige, light bronze, but not bronze and ebony skin. So just to let you know that. So I like to use the concealer. All our concealers and perfecting concealer under eye corrector have what we call a doe foot. That's the name. It's like a lip gloss applicator. It's called the doe foot, and you just want to put 3 dots. 1, 2, 3 dots, and then you're going to blend those dots in. This is the under eye corrector, but I do have some speckles on my back of my hand, so I'm going to see if I can blend in for you. I don't know if you can see me blending. So you can do that, or you can use your finger and blend. And I didn't really give you a good look before, but that's blended in. You can hardly see anything. This is where, here is where I blended it. So this is, you put 3 dots and you blend it, ideally with a brush. I'm going to talk about concealers on the face, but when we get to eyes, I'm going to tell you how also to use this and your under eye corrector. So concealers are generally, as I said, used after foundation to help anything that foundation didn't cover. We used to say use a concealer beforehand, but what we'd find is that a lot of times you'd be wiping the concealer off. You still can, but you're going to have to stipple your foundation with a blending brush or a sponge, or with a blending sponge or a brush. But nowadays they're saying use concealer on top of foundation to help the areas that the foundation doesn't cover. The only time that does not apply is if your main foundation is a mineral powder foundation. You don't want to use a cream on top of a powder. Cream goes on cream, powder goes on powder. You never want to put a cream on top of the powder, you just make a paste. So that's it. So let's talk about the concealers we've got. After the under eye corrector, you're going to use, we have different shades, and I have them labeled because they're much easier for me to see as opposed to looking at that little tiny speck at the bottom. But we have light ivory and deep ivory. We have light beige and deep beige. We have light bronze and deep bronze. So we've got everything to cover all the spectrum. I'm going to show you how to use those. I'm also going to tell you when you use an under eye corrector, once you've corrected the dark areas under here, oftentimes you can go back and use your matching concealer, your perfecting concealer, over top of the corrector. So you've got the corrector to correct the shade and the concealer to make everything just smooth. So I'm going to show you some videos on how to do these. These videos are each 5 minutes and 1 minute. The second video is going to talk about baking. Not a lot of people do a lot of baking. I don't necessarily recommend it for everybody unless you are a big internet success and you have a following and you need to keep makeup on all day. I'll tell you what baking is afterwards. The video will show you. I'm sure you've heard about baking. You wonder what on earth baking has to do with makeup. Well, it's how you put concealer on and bake it so it stays. But it's nothing to do with putting your head in a hot oven, so don't go there. Okay, so I'm going to see if I can do share my screen. If I can, share screen with. So I know last time I needed to do it with audio. So share screen. Don't show these tips again. Share screen. Share audio. Okay, now I'm going to. Alrighty, let's share this one. So again, this is our training from Mary Kay. And so I'm going to show you about perfecting concealers and under-eye correctors. I'm coming back to under-eye corrector last. I want to show you perfecting concealers first. So here we go.
At Mary Kay, we love a flawless face. But when you're faced with a blemish, redness, or dark circles, sometimes foundation alone isn't enough. I'm Mary Kay celebrity makeup artist Virginia Lindsay, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is to achieve a flawless look by using Mary Kay Perfecting Concealer and Under Eye Corrector. Okay, first let's talk about what concealer is. How is it different from foundation and why do we need it? The difference is in the formula of the products. Concealer contains a more concentrated amount of pigment than foundation. This means that you can apply concealer to a trouble spot and it will provide the coverage you need without becoming thick or cakey. Concealer can be used in several ways. It can be worn alone on the skin, or it can be worn over foundation to provide extra coverage in problem areas. And customers of any age, skin tone, or skin type can use concealer if needed. So let's play, shall we? My friend Andrea wants a quick fix for when she's out running errands on the weekend. She has a little redness to cover around the nose, forehead, and chin. Now, Perfecting Concealer comes in 6 shades from light ivory to deep bronze, and I think light beige is going to match her perfectly. So, when you open the tube, you'll notice it has a doe foot applicator. Use this to apply 2 or 3 dots of concealer directly on the skin to any of the areas you choose. See how the applicator helps place the product precisely where you need it? Now gently tap with your ring finger until the product blends into the surrounding area. You want to use a tapping motion and not a rubbing motion, which can actually remove the product. Allow the concealer to dry and ensure the edges are blended for a smooth, seamless finish. Here's a tip. Instead of your finger, you can also use the cream eye color concealer brush for even more precision. A great benefit of the Mary Kay Perfecting Concealer is that the creamy, lightweight formula will never feel heavy or cakey, and it won't settle into fine lines. As a matter of fact, the formula uses a light diffusing technology to help blur the appearance of fine lines and optically correct imperfections. And since it's concentrated, a little goes a long way, just as you saw. Now, if you're looking for a little more coverage, you can apply Perfecting Concealer over your foundation in the areas that need it most. Make sure you've applied liquid or cream foundation to create an even base over the whole face. Then apply dots of concealer over dark spots just where you need it, and tap in with your finger to blend. This incredible formula is blendable and buildable, so you can always add another layer if needed. One thing to remember, if you wear Mary Kay Mineral Powder Foundation, always apply concealer before your foundation because you wouldn't want to apply a powder before cream. That could get messy. Now you're thinking, what about these dark circles? How do I cover these? Great news, we're going to take care of those right now. If your skin tone is bronze or deep bronze, Perfecting Concealer works on the skin under your eyes to provide all the coverage you need. Hooray! But if your skin tone falls somewhere between light ivory and deep beige, this is when you'll want to reach for the under eye corrector for some extra help. Here's where we use a little bit of art and science on our face. You ready? In order to cancel out one color, you have to cover it with the opposite color on the color wheel. Since dark circles have blue tones, we want to find the color opposite blue on the wheel, which is orange or peach. So by putting the peach under eye corrector on the skin, it counteracts the blue dark circles. Apply the corrector in the same way you apply concealer, using 3 dots and gently blending. That looks great. Now we need to match the under eye area to the rest of your skin. You can layer Perfecting Concealer right on top in the color that best matches your skin tone. And there we go. Your face is perfectly blended and bright. And one extra benefit to remember, not only do perfecting concealer and under eye corrector look great, they're also infused with antioxidants to help protect your skin from damaging free radicals. So now you've seen how wonderful these products look and feel, and learned how easy it is to apply them. Beautiful products, beautiful results. The benefits of maximum coverage with a light, fresh look and feel. What more could you ask for?
Okay, that was skin, that was sharing my screen, and that was learning. And you probably heard her say what I've said, that concealer goes before a powder because you don't want to mix the powder and a cream. In the first one, she put it on her face without any makeup at all. She had beautiful skin, that first model, that first, you know, person sitting in the chair. And so she just needed the redness, and all she did was use concealer. For those of us whose skin isn't so perfect, we would need foundation first and then concealer. The second model, the one with the bronze tone skin, she had those dark spots, and so she had on her foundation and then she used her concealer. And then of course you saw the under eye corrector and you saw the perfecting concealer on it. She talked about being buildable. Remember, I talked to you at the beginning about buildable. So both the bronze model, who was putting it on top of her foundation, and the under eye corrector and perfecting concealer, those are both buildable. But again, when you're doing a buildable, you always want to pat. You don't want to swipe. Now, the other thing is, if you have a red blemish, if you have a blemish that you want to conceal, you really want to go ahead and you want to put it a little on the blemish, but then you really want to pat around the red blemish. So like if you've got a little volcano, you want to pat around the volcano so it's all blended in. You want to put it there, but you don't want the blemish with a lighter color sticking out. You want to pat around the volcano. Also, for under eye circles, if you've got bags or puffiness under the eyes, what you want to do is you want to put your perfecting concealer underneath the bag, because remember, you want everything to go back. You want it to recede. So if you've got a bag and it's giving you a sag bag here, you know how the bags come up here and then you have that sort of line here. You want to put the perfecting concealer here. You'd put your under eye corrector if you've got red bags, but you want to put your perfecting concealer right underneath. Suppose my glasses are where the bag is. Okay, if this is where the glasses end, and I could say that it was a bag and here's my line where the bag is, I would want to put my correcting concealer right here underneath the bag to really get that line to kind of go back in. It's hard to explain, it's easier in person, but if you get it, perfecting concealer for dark areas, start again. Under eye concealer for dark areas, perfecting concealer would go right underneath the bag, because often if you have a saggy, baggy eye, it happens. You know, I wake up with them sometimes. You want to go ahead and make sure you've just got that line with perfecting concealer just right under it. Hey, Brenda, thank you. And hi, Adriana. So thank you. So that's talking about the concealers. I'm going to give you another video, and this is talking about baking a concealer. Remember, I promised you I was going to talk about baking the concealer. So this is what we're talking about. I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to find it for you. Let's see, share. Did I share audio? I'm going to go back. I'm going to share again because I don't remember sharing audio. There we go. Share audio, tab, whole page, share. Okay, education, color confident. I clicked right off of it. Okay, concealer. And here is, let's see, under eye corrector. So this is Luis Casco, who is one of our Mary Kay makeup artist. He's amazing. He does a lot. So this is how to hide dark circles, and it helps wake up tired looking eyes with under eye corrector. So let's watch.
First, let's apply corrector. I love this green color brush. The taper shape helps apply products with precision without tugging delicate skin. Then apply concealer and use gentle sweeping motions with the flat side of the brush to blend everything up. To set the look, you can either use the all-over powder brush to dust on powder and go, or for extra staying power, you can use the blending sponge to add a thicker layer of powder and then bake. Baking 5 to 10 minutes helps set the concealer. Then dust off the excess powder and look, no dark circles.
Okay, let's see how I can get out of here. And I think it's still running.
Let's apply corrector.
Okay, I'm back with you. So you learned about baking. Now, let me tell you a little bit about baking. If your skin is a little bit older and you do have some fine lines and wrinkles, baking is not for you. Baking is for those who want a smooth under eye complexion to get rid of dark areas and make your under eye corrector stay on longer. But you have to be very, very, very careful when you're using too much powder on any areas, wrinkles underneath the eyes. Okay, let's talk about blush. I'm going to talk a little bit about blush and then we're going to it some more because next week it's going to be about contouring. So blush. Blush is to mimic a flush. So if you are outside and you are running or running around or you know, did a jogging thing, when you came in, how would you be flushed? What would be that color? If you were out in the sun, if you're at the beach, we're not talking a sunburn, we're talking about heat. How would you be flushed and where would you be flushed? So you never want to, you can see my blush here because the lighting. Let's see, wrong face. Okay. Oh, it's crazy. I'm opposite of the mirror. So when you're out, you never want to blush darker than you flush. So if your face is flushed, like you're embarrassed or you're a blushing bride, that's as dark as you want to blush. So put your blush on. So you never blush darker than you flush. And for contouring, which we're going to talk about next week, I want you to remember, unless you're in NASCAR, those racing stripes have got to go. Remember when we used to do the smile thing, or we used to suck in, and then we'd take the concealer and we'd go up here and we ended up with a racing stripe? No more. So I'm going to go over that some more next week. But the blush is never darker than you normally flush. And we have a lot of beautiful blushes. These are all our shades. These are all the blushes over here. And these are our contours over here. And so we'll talk about more of the contour powders next week. And these are my blush colors. So you can see we have from light to darker. So they're good for all skin tones. So we'll talk more about that. So let's talk about a couple of finishing products. Once you've got your makeup on, once you've got your foundation on, once you've stippled, you've billed, you've baked if you need to. Sounds like we're doing making a kitchen. You've built and you've blended and you've baked and you've stippled and you've done everything right. How do you keep it on? Well, there's two ways you keep it on. And if you want to go to my YouTube channel, I have one from a year ago that says how to prevent makeup meltdown. There are a couple of products there. But one of them is our Mary Kay translucent powder. It is a white powder. It is white. I mean, it absolutely has no color, but it's good for all skin tones. It doesn't matter how fair you are or how dark you are because it's translucent. It's got a little bit of a light reflecting property in it. Again, if you have a tremendous amount of lines, it's probably not going to be for you, but this is a nice finishing powder. What's so good about this is it sets everything. Remember in the baking how it set it, the longer you left it on, that it would set the concealer? Well, this is the same thing. You put it on with a big fluffy brush, you leave it and you just blend the extra off and everything is set. The other one that is particularly good, and it's called the Model's Secret, is our finishing spray. This is Mary Kay finishing spray. It is a simple spray. Don't know if you can see that, and if the camera catches that spray. And what you want to do is you want to spray your face before you put on any powders. You want to do a spray, because this is like hairspray for the face. This is going to keep your makeup on. It's a great product. It's good for skin. It's good for all skin types because it's going to hydrate. I don't know if you can see me still a little bit damp. It's going to hydrate dry skin, and it's going to help to absorb oil for oily skin. Don't know how it does it, but it really does. So if I'm going out in the day, I use my finishing spray. I always have one in my bathroom. And if you watch a video that I did a couple weeks ago talking about how to keep your makeup from getting inside your mask and messing up your mask, because you know sometimes now we're wearing masks, we have to put the mask on to go inside. If you're in a private office, you can take it off. If you're meeting with a friend, you can take it off. But do you go out with no makeup? Do you go out because you have spots and you need makeup? I don't know, but that little video showed you how to keep your makeup from messing up your mask by keeping a light makeup. And this was one of the featured products along with this. So these are the two finishing products, translucent powder and finishing spray. So that's what I wanted to talk about this week. It was concealers and finishing products. Now next week, we're going to go more in depth on how to position your blush and your contours, and I'm going to show you by face shape, because I want you to think about your face shape. So you're going to look this week and see, do you have a round face? Do you have this? I've got more, except I've gained weight, but I have a heart-shaped face because actually I'm wider up here than I am here. I come to a point, so this is a heart-shaped face. Some people have a wonderful oval. That's an oval face. That's the ideal shape face. Some people have more of a square chin, so their cheekbones come down and it's almost square, and that's a square face. So you have a round face where you can actually see as a round face. You have the heart-shaped face where you've got kind of a pointy chin. You've got a oval face where your forehead, this whole area here, just is like a perfect oval. That's what we all want. We've got this square shaped face. So those are the shaped faces we're going to talk about, because everybody is looking to get the perfect oval. So when we contour, we can get that. So next week, we're going to talk about contouring and blush and contouring by face shape. So I hope I see you then. 28 minutes. My goal is to be under 30. So I will see you next week. And remember, Wednesdays I do skincare and Fridays I do glamour. So make sure that you sign out. And so I know you'll hear it. And so I know that you're here throughout. And I'm going to draw a winner. And I'm going to give away a cream concealer brush. One of my favorites. You're going to have so many uses for it. In fact, you need 3 of them is all I'm going to say to you. Okay, good night, everybody. Make sure you've signed in and signed out. I'm going to choose a winner. Have a great weekend. Happy Friday.